You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Drew Del Pree. Guess what?
What's up, logo?
Guess what I'm doing right now? But you can't guess.
No idea. I mean, I might be able to guess, but is it an FCC violation?
The probability is high. That's all I'm going to say.
Does the audience know we got a strike?
No, we'll bring that up during the show, which I disputed and I lost.
I don't even remember when the strike was on, but it's funny, man. When you get one, I read about them on Twitter, you know, but to get one was interesting.
So we have to explain real quick. Right as we were getting ready to come on the show, my camera died.
Yes,
and I troubleshot. I've done this, done that, restarted this, that. Timing sucks. Anyway, but it could be welcoming for some people. You don't have to look at this ugly mug all night. That could be a plus. Show. That's right. But you know what? We do have a guest tonight.
We do
have a guest, and I'd like to introduce her now. Bring her on into the room there. Hello, Miss Amy. How are you?
Hi. Nice to see you guys. Nice to meet you guys both.
I see what you did there. You can't see me.
Thanks for coming, though. Seriously.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome to the show.
I'm really honored. I'm honored that you had me on.
Well, wait till we get through the show before you say that. You might change your mind.
Should I have done a little research first?
There's nothing to research,
right? According to the government, we're probably on 16,000 watch lists, but other than that, there's nothing to research.
Well, it's their fault for training us.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Well, for showing us how to do it. Anyway.
So
no.
Yeah. So what I did is, as you guys know, a lot what I do is I go on to Facebook and I belong to a group, need a guest, want a guest, whatever the case may be, put out a call for comedians. I'd like to get a comedian on the show. And Miss Amy responded, although she's not a comedian. You said, refresh my memory. You're funny. You're funny how?
I'm not a comedian, but I think I'm funny. But I don't know. My husband wouldn't agree as much. But actually, what we do, my husband and I, we do sales. My husband is actually very funny. He's just not a stand-up comedian.
Funny how?
But,
funny like a clown? Funny I amuse you? I'm here to amuse you?
That's
something like that. Yeah. He actually was a stunt actor. He's from Australia. So he did live action comedy stunts. So he's very slapsticky. Like we'll be walking down the street and he'll knock into a pole and fall over. Funny stuff like that. He's very Keystone copy. And just super fast witted, like improv type. And that's what we use. We actually use improv and we teach it in our sales training. And we use humor in our sales training because there's humor is the fastest way to influence another person. And there's a psychological reason why behind it. You guys want to know?
I'll take it.
How much am I allowed to, what am I allowed? I don't know, I'll figure out. I'll say it nicely because I'm not sure what I can say here.
Well, let me preface it before you start. I will bet you $100 that you can't offend either one of us.
I'm not concerned about offending. I'm more concerned about getting you bumped off YouTube or something like that.
Whatever.
Okay.
Not worried.
The only person that monitors their speech around here is me.
Okay. All right. So there's only 2 times where we're breathing at the same rate of pace and making eye contact with each other. And one of them is when we're laughing. Can you guess when the other one is?
Sure. When we're crying.
No.
I know where you're going.
What's that?
It's much more fun.
Because my mind is always in the gutter.
Yep. It's when we're in bed together.
Yeah, I believe it.
So when you make another person laugh, they trust you to the level of you inviting them into bed.
Have you read Influence?
Oh yeah, it's a great book.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
As I was reading it, Andy, no kidding, I'm like, I fell for that. I'm falling for that right now. No. But I love how they talk about some of these things, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it. One of the points in the book that the doctor makes is it doesn't matter if you're aware of it. some things are just overriding, you know, like your natural response overrides it. So you could be aware you're getting tricked and still not be able to do anything. Find yourself saying yes at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Because it literally taps into our survival, our DNA, our tribality, like all of it. Like it's literally written in our code. And then the other thing is when you make another person laugh, it's the one time, because our brains are designed to look for reward and threat, right? So we're looking
Sure.
for
Fight or flight, right?
fight or flight, reward or threat.
Reward or threat.
That is 100% of your ancestors were not virgins, first off. So you are
What?
here. I know. And don't think about it. Don't imagine it. Just trust it, right?
Heartbroken.
But 100% of them were not virgins. So the DNA that got passed on to you were the ones that were hyper focused and able to identify reward and threat. And so it's, yeah, laughter's medicine. Exactly. It is medicine.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits to laughter. There's so much health. And so what we do is we actually use humor to teach it, to get it more into your workplace, into your business. The more humor you can have in your business, you have less sick days. You have people wanting to show up to work. You have more sales, your sales conversions, and you're able to innovate and come up with better ideas and things like that. So yeah, it's just energy being exchanged. Exactly. And when we're laughing, we also tend to go like this, right? So we're like, ah, ha, ha, right? So when we expose our neck, we basically say, I trust you.
Just like in bed. Wait, what?
Just like in bed.
Wait a minute. Get my mind out of the gutter.
And I often laugh at my bed, and my husband really hates that.
Well, right. I was just about to say God bless you, and then you brought up the laughing in bed, and forget about it. You blew it.
Yeah. It's funny. I had somebody tell me one time, yeah, and the conversation just reminded me of this, so it might be a little bit off topic, but I remember them telling me they live their life like, I already beat out 1 million. I had to beat out 1 million to get here. He's like, so I'm not, that's how I live. I already beat 1 million. He's like, so I'm going. True. He goes, I'm going. And I was dying when he said it, because I was like, he's right. He goes, I'm a winner, man. I came out a winner. Everyone's a winner here. If you're here, you're a winner. You beat out 1 million. Go. Don't let somebody tell you they can hold you back. Go.
That's right.
I'm using that. I love
I
that.
never thought of it like that.
I actually really love that. Yeah. And it's really cool, because when you start to really think about like how we got here and human behavior, and that's what we it's all about human behavior, neuroscience and sales. And yeah, Sunny says, I laugh daily. I make others laugh and demonstrate the positive vibes it releases, making the moments count. Oh, it's so great. I love that. Sunny side of freedom. I love that. Yeah. So it's like, it's so valuable and so important. And when you're looking at just how we make others laugh, and then the walls come down when we laugh too. Our guards and defenses come down. So now we don't have that wall of skepticism up of, oh, this person's about to sell me. They're just calm, and they're having this calm enjoyment and this fun, right? And they're just letting it fly. So it's just, yeah, it's fun. So we've got 3 comedians that we're actually doing a trip to Bali, where we're going to do an intensive. And we've got comedian Tom Cotter. He's on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny dude. Super funny dude. We've got Carrie Louise. She's on Last Comic. She was Last Comic Standing. She's been on Oprah. She's on a Showtime right now. Funny women of a certain age, because she does a lot of women my age humor. I'm over 50. And then we also have comedian Craig Gass. He's on the Stern Show. He does the voices for like he's been on King of Queens, King of the Hill.
Yeah, okay.
And he does a bunch of celebrity voices. He's funny as hell. But it's great because they all have lessons around why humor is so important and so valuable in the workplace. And what Craig talks about, which I love, is just like diving in and embracing the wrong. Like, so when things go wrong and things aren't quite the way that you want them to go, lean into the wrong, because it's funny, right?
It can be.
It often it is. Like, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, when we look back at it later, it's funny. So if we could just lean into the wrong in the moment, it could be funny.
Yeah.
Well, we used to say in the military all the time, if you're wrong, stay wrong.
Yeah.
Don't move.
That's right.
But Andy, I was going to bring something. Maybe you can comment on it. But the dark side of the military humor.
Oh yeah.
To get through those times, I mean, you can comment on that. We developed that dark humor, and then people look at us, we're sharing jokes out in Walmart, and people are looking like, I can't believe they're, but
Yeah, I mean, so it's a coping mechanism, number one, obviously, but the stuff you have to laugh at the stuff that happens because the best comedians in the world usually have had such a tragic life leading up to where they're at. Whether they're
Absolutely. And the thing is what most people do, and especially in companies, is something goes wrong and then they try to ignore it. And then it just grows into this big giant elephant in the room. And just more and more, it just gets worse. It's more awkward. So if you just lean into it. So 3 weeks ago, oh my God, my husband and I were coming back from Florida. We were flying back from Florida. We live in Vegas. And he freaking got his arm stuck in the airplane. I swear to God, we had to call him. We had to call in medics. They brought in medics. They brought in mechanics. Like, it was like, thank God it was like at the end of the thing. So this is what happened. So he's like stuck in the plane. What happened was like the seat, like in between the middle of the seat, like right behind you, he dropped something. And so it was like the end of the flight. And he looked down there. He reached his arm in and it slid right in, but he couldn't get it out. It was like everything, it was metal. And it was like, and so he was like Winnie the Pooh, like stuck in the plane, right? And so he's trying to get my attention. I'm not paying attention because I'm just like, it's midnight. Our flight's delayed.
I want off.
I want to get home, right? And I'm just like, and I don't want to hold anybody up. I want to like get into the flow and jump off when it's my turn and have all my stuff. So and he's like trying to go, Amy, like he's trying to quietly get my attention. And he's like, Amy. And I look and I'm like, I immediately panic and I go, help, my husband needs help. He's so upset because now there's like 40 people walking by him.
Sure.
And his ass is in the air next to the window, and his arm is stuck and his face is like at the bottom of the seat. So
yes.
It's a really awkward position. And he's just like stuck and he's like horrified. Like my husband is horrified. I know he's horrified, but I'm like, at that point, I'm like concerned, like, is his arm broken? And like stuff is going through my head. Like, are we going to get charged for this? Like,
yeah, you're right.
Is this going to cost us? How much is this going to cost us? This flub up is going to cost us. And the other thing I'm thinking is like, I don't know anybody over the age of 6 that gets their arm stuck in something.
So did you think he was kidding at first? Because
no, I knew it was a problem, but I was concerned. I was worried, but at the same time, I'm like, okay. And once I assessed that he was okay, and this is how I did it was the lady, she comes up, and mind you, the flight attendants are there. There's like 4 flight attendants there, and the lady's like, you can go home. And they're like, oh no, this is great. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah.
They're like, this is great. They're like, and the lady walks up.
This is like an eclipse. I'm not leaving.
And she goes,
I'm getting my special viewing glasses now.
I don't know about an eclipse, but it sounds like there was a full moon sticking up.
Yeah. There was. And so she goes, the lady comes over. Did you lose something, sir? And my husband's seat, and he goes, my dick. And then everybody fell out, and to go, okay, we can help now. Used all the energy in the room to be. I'm filming, and my husband looks up and he goes, "Are you?" I go, "No, I'm live streaming." And the pilot starts cracking up. He's like, words were like they finally got him. They had to. Am I? No. Can you hear me? I can hear you guys. Anyway, sorry if I wasn't supposed to say that.
I'm sure it's on my end.
And afterwards, the medics had to be there, so like they brought him out. They had to cut him out of the seat. They had a seat to get him back out. So we're sitting out, check him, and they're like, you could just see. They were like, "Do you feel like you need medical attention?" No, I'm
medical
fine.
Attention, yeah.
Like, because they have to ask these questions. My husband's like, I want to go to bed.
Yeah. It's, sometimes you're stuck, and I know, and I mean, like, literally, but even figuratively, you're stuck in the situation. There's nothing. I mean, it's not, it's not going to fix itself, and getting angrier and more frustrated doesn't help either.
It doesn't.
So what is the choice, right? I mean, the choice is either, laugh about it or get through it. One thing I heard in the military, when I got into special operations, that I had never heard until I had gotten into there, was fix the problem, not the person. We can get the person later, right? And what they equated that to was, when you're clearing a room, the person goes left, the other person goes right. They said if both go left and you're the third one in, the problem is no one is covering right. If you turn to fix the person, still no one is covering right. You're not helping. You have to fix the problem, because that is an immediate issue. And then we can talk to number 2 later. But I think that's what happens, is a lot of people get in these situations, and I'm sure it applies to sales, but management and workforce related issues, where they get so concerned about fixing the person, instead of addressing what's going on with the problem.
That's great. I have learned so many military, just my military friends. I was raised on bases all over the world, but and then
hey, Amy, I'm going to ask you to hold that thought 1 second. We are having an issue with the sound.
Okay.
And I just want to be upfront. Listeners, you might be hearing everything, because in the past that's happened, and we don't hear it. It gets choppy. So we're going to take a second. Andy, if you have any fix or anything you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's a streaming issue, software issue. I don't know. This is very unusual and doesn't happen. And of course,
right,
everything's happening tonight. Camera's not working. I don't know.
No worries. I just wanted to be upfront about it. And but a lot of times what happens is it does sound choppy to us, but then it comes out in the stream audio that there was never an issue.
Yeah. So
I wonder if Sunnyside could let us know how the
yeah, if she's still there, I hope.
Yeah.
Anyway, I apologize profusely. This is so embarrassing, but just the kind of day I've had.
It is what it is. It's you.
Amy, why don't we take it? We could take it. Why don't you reconnect?
Yeah, let's
try reconnect.
Yeah, with commercial.
Do we want to all jump on to do?
Yeah, we'll have you reconnect. I think that might address the audio issue.
Okay.
We'll wait.
Let me give it a.
Yeah.
So there I was.
I'll sing and dance.
Oh God, please don't. For the love of God.
I just stop this feeling.
Oh God, I wish you would.
Deep inside of me.
Okay.
Is that better?
So far so good.
Yeah.
Maybe it was mine.
Yeah, that's what Sunnyside was saying there. It was I was okay, Lou was all right. It was on your end, but it seems like everything's hunky dory now.
Well, damn, that was a great story.
Well,
yeah.
Let's start
I sang
all
and
over.
danced for like 2 seconds until Andy told me to stop.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you missed it at all.
I'm not very smooth
at all. So anyway, see if we can get back on track here.
Yes.
Talking about the military, also with the special operations component you brought up. But, Lou and I were both in the medical field, and it's so funny when there are minor injuries, the first thing we do usually is laugh, and then we take care of the
ridicule, immediate ridicule.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We were everybody was ridiculing him, like everybody.
It's so sad but hilarious at the same time.
It was almost like we interrupted their movie. Like we could almost picture the medics that they were sitting there watching a good movie, and these the three that had to show up, like they had to leave the movie, and
yes, yeah. It's probably exactly what that you're 100% right. That they were watching it. I guarantee you.
You blew it. I was gonna let her off easy and then slam her home with, yeah, they did miss it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Lou. Thanks,
Sorry, everyone.
buddy.
No, we know. We have enough friends. We work. We have enough friends, enough cops, and even my trainer. He worked special ops in the military, and I learned the most from him. He's amazing. He's a guy named by the name of Chase Hughes. He's absolutely incredible. He wrote the book 6MX. He's does the 6-minute X-ray on how to read body language, how to read anybody in 6 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I had the book. It's funny. I talking to different people in different walks of life. I've read a lot of like sales books, not realizing it. But I read a book, Never Be Lied to Again. That was written by.
That's is that Greg Hartley or is that Mark
I can't I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but the things he talked about looking at somebody on the phone. He was like how you can just immediately tell who someone's talking to by how he's like when people talk to their boss, even though they're thousands of miles away, they stand straight up. The phone is held. He's like, it's your boss, man. He doesn't know. He's like, or they're talking to family members, immediately you can.
Yeah, I can read people on the phone on sales calls.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's when people are masters of their craft, like the Doctrine and Influence said, when you're dealing with the master of the craft, there's walk away.
If
Run.
you can.
So, what type of sales are you into?
So I mostly work with large seminar companies, and so I do higher end sales, like programs that are $10, $20, $50,000,
Wow.
big retreats, things like that. Like think Tony Robbins type stuff. So those are most of my clients are like the people that put on seminars, do live shows, things like that. We just brought on a new client so just to give you an idea, most people sell about 20 to 25%. And the reason is because we all have about 4 different buying languages that we speak, and we buy like we sell. So I'm accidentally going to speak the right language to 25% of the population. Yeah. Right. So most salespeople, it's about 25%. When you understand people's languages and how they buy and how they make their decisions to buy, then you can really turn the dial up on that. So we just brought on a new client. We did his event 6 weeks ago, and we did 80%. My husband and I sold 80% of that room.
Now, when you say speaking their language, are you talking about those categories he discussed, like using a scarcity principle?
No, I'm talking about speaking their language. Like, for instance, you might have a specific way, motivation about you and a way that you speak, where like I'll tell you my motivation and the way I speak is like I'm super direct. I'm really driven. I'm in or I'm out, right? It's a yes or a no. Where there's a certain part of the population where they're more thinkers, like they think they're analytic. Like Steve Jobs would be like a complete opposite of me. He's a more thinker. He's like analytical. He's got to think about things for a minute. So if I went up to a guy like Steve Jobs and I sold him the way I buy, because the way I buy is I'm in or I'm out. It's a yes or a no, right? I'm a super fast decision maker. But if I was going to try to talk to somebody like Steve Jobs, I would have to say, I know you're going to probably have some questions about this, and it's probably, I know you're going to think about it. So why don't we book tomorrow and let's have a conversation tomorrow about this? If I tried to sell them right away on that call, it would be an instant no for that particular buying language, right?
Got it.
So it's learning to speak people's buying language.
How did you get into this?
Man, it's dark.
I like dark.
It's real dark. Okay.
Continue, Master Bruce. Some people just want to see the world burn.
So when I was real young, partly survival. Now we are all products of our childhood reward and punishment. So I had a really good anchoring thing happen for me as a child. So when I was 8 years old, I was a campfire girl, and I really wanted to go to camp. And in order to go to camp, I had to sell 24 cases of cookies, and I could get my way paid to camp. So my dad, who's a brilliant sales guy, it was stock market. He was Merrill Lynch. He worked for Merrill Lynch. He dressed me up in that cute little Girl Scouts outfit, and he took me. I call it the car lot strategy. He took me to every single car dealership and made me walk up to them in that little outfit and say, "Want to buy my cookies?" Right? And so, of course, I sold all 24 cases in one day to
Wow.
them. So that gave me a really good anchor in my head that sales was okay. Most people are really like afraid of sales because they're like if they think car salesman, they think, sleazy, thing, right? So there was that. And then love and hate the quote love and hate quotas. Yeah. I don't like quotas because that's not how we teach to sell. We teach to sell based on human behavior and based on neuroscience, which is a little bit different than the like sales books or sales tactics you probably read. So then what got me into human behavior was at age 14, there was a prolific rapist in our area. And my mother worked at the same real estate agency as he did.
Oh,
And
geez.
and not only that, but it was very close to home. His girlfriend had been over to dinner at our house, and his girlfriend was the one that helped catch him. And so my fear at 14 years old was like, I'm gonna be that girl. I'm gonna be the girlfriend that has some guy doing some heinous stuff, and I'm gonna have no idea, and he's gonna be doing it under my nose. So I wanted to understand humans, and I wanted to understand all behavior, from the worst of us to the best of us. And so I really got into studying like why we behave the way we behave. There's a really good book called Behave that talks about our neuroscience. It's the worst and best of us and how humans behave and why we make decisions and how we make decisions. And so then I started tying that into sales. Well, if people make a decision like this, how do they make a decision to buy? And where do we make decisions at? And what most people understand is the three brains in our head. So we've got the lizard brain, which is the brain that's closest to the base of our head. We've got the midbrain, which is really the brain of a dog. It's the mammalian brain. And then we've got the neocortex that's at the top, the human brain, which is the only brain that speaks language, right? So most of us think we're making decisions with the neocortex because we're all kind of thinky people. But the reality is we actually make decisions from the midbrain.
I'd say I do most of my thinking from the midbrain.
All of us do.
Just about 99%.
Everyone does. We all do. We all do.
We'll know in 2044, according to Ray Kurzweil, we'll be able to map human thought.
Ooh.
He says 2044, we'll know. We'll know.
I won't. Anyway.
It's amazing.
I don't think I could do sales.
Why?
I'm just too I'm too alpha. Buy this or don't. Get the hell away from me.
Yeah, it does take a little patience. And I'm more like that. I was like that in the beginning. I'm very like, that's how I buy, that's how I sell. Like, you in or what? Right? Like, that's me. My husband, we call him the spooner because he is super patient. So the people that are like tire kickers or that are like that need like extra hand holding or they need like to be like, so he just spoons them calmly, listens until they give him a credit card.
That's hilarious.
I have a question. I trained in jujitsu with a couple of sales guys. One is moving up the chain, and so we have different over the years we have different conversation. But one is very very content with what he does. Makes his money, that he wants to make, and he's very content. Works for a medical company. He was telling me he picks up his clients' kids. Sometimes he shops for them.
Whoa.
Like I was like, he's like, it's just part of sales, like just part of sales. Like, they've, I've been over there to demonstrate products and they've been like, can you pick up my? I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I mean, is that like a part of sales?
No.
Like doing things for your clients? Like, I mean, is that common?
Well, yes, doing things for your clients is common. Like for instance, it's the law of reciprocity, which you probably read about in the book Influence, right?
Yeah, sure.
I think they talked about that
If I may, I took the
Yeah.
greatest quote from that when that change, like we went to life-changing quotes from influence. When he said, "Don't minimize favors you do for people by saying it's no problem." He
Exactly.
said, when somebody says thank you, say, he said, just, you're
You're welcome.
welcome. I'm sure you would do the same in my position. And then you let them know I expect it back. He's like that automatically plants the seed. He was talking about those overriding things. He says it's a very polite way to acknowledge the thank you and communicate. I will expect reciprocity. I'm treating you fairly and I expect it back.
Exactly.
And I started doing that. And you know what I started noticing? That the response varies. I get a varied. Some people's eyes open. And they're like, okay,
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Anyway, go.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's that law of reciprocity. So when you're, when you're offering something, especially a higher end product, like I'm talking, and the thing is like, I'm talking 10, 20, $30,000 and it's not tangible, right? Like, so for instance, one of the things I sell is a real estate investing course. Right. Well, the tangible, it's not like here's 30,000 and here's a car, right? It's here's 30,000 and here's your dream. Go get it. So you kind of have to turn up the volume on the reciprocity to move them and get them. Now they can do it. I mean, people get results. People get great results from these programs. Otherwise, I wouldn't sell them because I'm not going to sell something that like I've had companies ask me to sell their stuff and I won't sell it if they don't deliver really good stuff, or if they're not in it for the right reasons. Cause there's people that aren't in it for the right reasons, and it has to be the right reasons to uplift others. We rise by lifting others up. Right.
Sure.
So, yeah. But yeah, those laws of reciprocity. So we do a ton of coaching, a ton of help, a ton of, we spend a lot of time on the phone with them. It's not always just an hour conversation. It's, it can be weeks of moving them to move that needle.
I've got a question from left field for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite movie relating to sales?
Oh.
Glenn Ross. It's mine.
Do you know what actually my favorite movie regarding sales is Psych? Not movie, but series is Psych.
Oh, I love that series.
It's a great show.
He is brilliant because here's the thing: a sale doesn't necessarily have to end in the exchange of money.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm selling you my idea about what sales is.
Right? I ain't buying, sister.
Oh, you will by the time we're done. But it's like either I'm selling you my idea, you're selling me your idea. It doesn't necessarily have to. And then my other definition of a successful sales call, I say it doesn't necessarily end in the exchange of money. My definition of a successful sales call ends when both parties leave that call feeling empowered. But Psych, he is brilliant at selling his ideas. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. He's
in such a goofy way.
And I love that way.
I do too.
It's a great show. It's a great show. And I'll tell you, and I can't remember it starts with a D, but the Gus, the character who plays Gus, he should win he makes Sean look good. There's no Sean without Gus.
He's such a good actor.
Oh,
Guster Burton.
Yeah, but but I thought his real name is like I can't remember his real name.
I wouldn't know his real name, but
I think it starts with a D. But yeah, there's no Sean without Gus, and just very, very underrated. I felt, man, I enjoy his character in that show. You don't like Glenn Ross?
I like Glenn Ross. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I think that's one of the greatest sales movies ever.
It's a great movie. But I mean, if my favorite would be Psych. Because look at how often he's selling Gus. He sells Gus in every single episode. Gus doesnn't want to do it, and he sells him in every single episode, and he's brilliant at it.
And sells the other people on Gus's crazy identities. Like he throws those names out and just moves on. Like the name. Funny. Yeah, and you know, and I get it. Like when I read influence, right? You're so distracted by how crazy the name is, you don't realize I'm 2 topics in, and you've already said yes.
And you've
You know?
already said exactly that. See, he's so good. He's my favorite, and that's the way that we sell, because we sell and you don't even see it coming. Gus doesn't even know he's being sold
Mhm.
in every
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite sales movie, probably because I don't realize that the movie is truly about sales. Honestly, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah.
being honest here.
Yeah.
I'm completely ignorant to that world.
Have you ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
I've never even heard of it.
You know what? I threw it in after only watching the Alec Baldwin scene for like decades. And I was like
God.
finally let me actually watch the movie.
Hmm.
And it was good. It was deep. It was deep. You know, the pressure and you know the issues, aging, young. You know the expectations from downtown. You know, mergers. I mean, it was very very deep, and it was about sales. And there's a you'll have to you know, and I encourage listeners go watch the Alec Baldwin, just YouTube Alec Baldwin, Glengarry Glen Ross, and he gives this 7-minute diatribe that is hilarious when you hear it. But when you watch the movie, and you know, it might be funny your first time, but as watching it, you know, having seen that 100 times, I was focused on them and the actors while he's giving it, and the looks on their faces, and the way they portray getting berated by him. I mean, it was a lot more powerful than I thought it would have been seeing it in that movie. And I'll just finish with I always say there's you know, as you see the VHS collection behind me, there's movies and there's films. You know, I think Woody Allen makes films. He doesn't make movies. I think Glengarry Glen Ross is a film. So that's where I throw that in that category.
I'll have to what's your definition between movies and films? Like, that's interesting.
So I think films are more grittier, realistic. There's not a lot of dynamic action happening. There's not a lot of there's the acting has to carry. There's no you know like I consider like where it's a I'm trying to think of another. I would consider Singles a film. The old
What would be a movie? What would you consider a movie?
oh, Double
Fast,
Impact, Death Warrant.
Fast and Furious.
Get Fast
Oh,
and
okay,
Furious.
gotcha.
Yeah, Paycheck.
Yeah,
Um,
the mindless movie where you don't have to think, you just
yeah,
are entertained.
Star Treks are movies. You know, they're great.
Right.
They're fun. You know, I enjoy them. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not saying movies can't have a point, but
Right.
I find films to be a film, in my opinion, the acting there has to be a good story, but the acting really has to carry it because
Carry it. So like
there's nothing.
Everything Everywhere All at Once would have been a film.
To me, yes, absolutely, because there's a lot of special effect. There's a lot of things going on.
What about Nefarious?
Nefarious to me is a that's a good question. See, I think Nefarious is I don't like how it ended.
Yeah,
Is what I'll say. I don't like how it ended, and so I want to throw it in the film category, but the ending makes me put it in the movie category only because it felt. It was trying to draw on star power. You know, it was trying to draw on. Have you seen that film, Amy? I'm sorry. I'm over here talking about. We've
No,
gone
but
from sales to films.
Hey, I love a good movie. I love good movies.
Nefarious was a great movie. And it should have ended 10 minutes early.
I agree.
You know, but
100%.
you won't regret watching it. It's Amazon Prime. I think it's still free on Prime. You won't regret. You won't regret seeing it.
It's
I'll check it out.
fantastic.
I'll check
I've seen
it
it
out.
twice.
Yeah, same here.
Not a lot of
Cool.
action, but it's a film that
It's
you
a
have
psychological thriller. It
Yeah, you
says
have to
it's
pay
rated
attention.
horror because I don't know, but it's a psychological thriller.
Oh, okay. I don't watch horror, so if I see horror, I'm like, I'm out.
But
It'll say it says horror, but I didn't. There was no gore. I didn't see. There was no blood.
I think they classified it as horror because it had to do with demons and possession. But
there's a man on death row, and they do execute him at the end of the film, and it is very graphic.
Don't tell me.
No, you'll know. You'll know.
Okay. Okay.
That's
It's the
not
premise. Yeah.
Oh, it's the premise. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, that's the whole premise. But that was also put in the trailer because they knew it was graphic.
Right.
So if you had seen the commercial, it wouldn't have ruined it for you. But and as you said, you don't like that stuff, so I wanted to warn you because I don't.
Oh no, I just don't like straight up horror where it's just like trying to like scream queen kind of.
Oh yeah. I'm not.
I
into that
hate
either.
those movies.
But
People ask me all the time. I
psychological
hate them. I find them so unbelievable, Amy. Right? But I will watch Van Damme ninja kick 15 people and go, "That's possible with training and sustainment."
He's a little guy. Do you know that he has to stand on a wood crate for one of those movies when he's
Hey,
running?
I resemble that.
Have you you know
Don't
who's short? You know
judge.
who's really short, and you'll notice it in one film is Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, he's tiny. The man
And there's a scene in Judge Dredd where he is opposite Armand Asante, who is already tall, and he is 3 steps up from Armand Asante, and they do a length shot, and you could see he's 3 steps up on the
Oh
stairs,
wow.
That's funny.
and they are just eye to eye. And
Ooh.
I remember watching it. I remember watching it with a film friend of mine who enjoys movies, and he's like, "That's a mistake because that was not
Super
supposed
funny.
to get off
Amy,
the cutting room floor."
I want to let you in on a little secret here that we have
Okay.
on the show. Lou is very shy, and we're really working on getting him to talk more. In case you didn't notice,
I love it. You guys are great.
I
We'll
take
hear more
any
from you.
any chance I get to bust his balls. I got to take it. Got to take it.
How can I ask how old you guys are?
Yeah, you can always ask.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm 47.
Oh, okay. You look
Mhm.
young, so I'm like thinking 30.
Yeah. Well, I work out.
Nah, me too.
I'm 53.
You are?
I am.
I used to work for Andy.
Really?
Well,
Doing what?
we
Yeah.
worked together. He didn't work for me.
Because I don't let you be in charge, but you were a senior to me.
We worked together at the Naval Hospital Emergency Department in Yokosuka, Japan.
In Japan.
Mhm.
Oh, very cool. My husband, he opened up Universal Studios Japan.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lived
Nice.
in Osaka for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, Osaka's
cool.
wonderful. It used
Yeah,
to be the
yeah.
capital. Like, I think it's still like the trading capital, is what I was told. Like, there's
Yeah,
a
I've
lot
never
of
been there.
goods move through there.
Yeah, I've never been there. I would love
He didn't
to.
take you?
What's that?
He didn't take you?
Well, it was before we met.
Oh,
That's a pretty good reason.
yeah. Make him take you.
I highly encourage it. It's amazing over there.
Yeah, he speaks it, so I would love to. Would love to.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Lou speaks a little bit.
I
Skoshi.
do.
Skoshi desu.
Yeah, just a little.
I-
Right? I always
I-
say benkyo shinakia ikimasen. Like, I have lots more to study.
Ah,
And then they look at me like, how do you know that?
Well, when that's the only thing you can say.
I played a practical joke on a guy. God, this was in the 90s. We were I used to do I do a lot of trade shows. I've done sales my whole life. So I was doing some trade shows. I modeled at trade shows when I was young. And so we were at the Westin Bonaventure, downtown LA, and we were on the top floor. And it was funny because we were my boss, this guy name was Dom, and he was this like thick accent. He was like 6'5", like this big guy from New York, and just thick New York accent. And we're like cruising through the hotel, and I was like, I would say, oh, ohayou gozaimasu, in the mornings, the Japanese people. And he was like, how do you know what to say? Like, and I was just like, just little bits, and just hello and goodbye and how are you, and things like that. And I could speak a bit of it because I just love a language. And so we're at the top of the Westin Bonaventure. We're getting the elevators. It's just me and him, and these 3 cute little Japanese girls get in, and they're about 20 years old. And he looks at me, he goes, what do I say? And I could not believe he left it up to me without knowing Japanese. And so I told him to go, iku, iku.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't remember what the other words were, but it was in Japanese, and it was I touch myself. So I'm coming, I touch myself. And he said that, and the three girls go, ooh, they put their little fingers and like that, and he looked at me and horrified, like, what did I say? And the elevator doors are closing. And we have an entire ride all the way down. We're at the top of the Westin. And at that point, I am on the floor of this glass elevator because I cannot stop laughing. And he is like, he can't get out. There's nowhere to go. He's stuck with these three girls. It was the funniest thing ever.
I have a similar story.
You do? Oh, tell
I
it.
do. I was the victim. So
Are you
my
Dom? No.
my wife's name is Connie. And so I bring that up to say that I have stories that I have to preface as this is a BC story, a before Connie story.
Oh, okay.
So just so I don't get in trouble. But back in the day, I may or may not have ventured into a gentleman's club, if you will, with a friend of mine. And there may or may not have been an extremely beautiful Hispanic woman dancing. And my buddy looks at me, and he was Mexican. He says, "You want to impress her?" I said, "Yeah, of course, duh. You know, I'm 20 years old, of course." He says, "Tell her, quiero comer su culo." So I did. And she smacked the shit out of me.
I bet she did.
I basically said, "I want to eat your ass," is what I told her, thinking I'm not knowing that's what I'm saying. But not only did I get slapped, we got thrown out of the establishment.
You don't say.
You don't say.
My God, where is free speech?
Right.
Oh my God. I love language. I have another funny one on language.
Yeah.
So my husband was working when we were up in Washington State. When he first got here, he started working construction because he's from Australia. And so we were going through the INS paperwork and everything. And it was just all he could do, even though he was an actor. So he jumped on construction, and he was like always having to pass these guys up 10 feet up on scaffolding. And one of the guys' name was Alejandro. And he goes, "Just call me Alex." And we're like, "No way, Alejandro." It just needs an announcement. Like, he was such a cool guy.
Yeah.
So we had some friends over for tequila one night, and she was in Spanish speaking. We go, "We want to learn a really weird, obscure sentence so he can say it to Alejandro when he's passing him on the scaffolding, like behind him." So we learned the sentence. And so what my husband did was he goes, "Oh, por favor, descúpame. Tengo un monstruo en el culo que no deja de salirme gas." And Alejandro goes, "Jamie, no, you cannot say that." And Jamie's like, "Why?" And he goes, "People will laugh at you." What he said was, "I have a monster hiding in my ass, and it keeps leaking gas."
Oh, that's hilarious.
So then we were at this little Spanish place. It was like this place in town had like the best burritos, and it was inside of this like Shell station, like a gas station, and they had like this little burrito station, and they all spoke Spanish mostly. The girl at the front desk spoke a little bit of English. And so I was talking to her. I'm ordering a burrito. I go, "Oh, I'm learning Spanish." And she goes, "Oh, you are?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I learned the sentence, and it means I'm having dinner tonight and guests are coming over." And she goes, "Oh." And I said that sentence to her, and she laughed her ass off, turned to the cook, repeated the sentence to the cook. The cook started laughing. She turns back to me, and I go, "That's what it means, right?" And she goes, "See."
Did you ever find out what it really meant?
I knew what it meant.
Oh,
it meant I have a monster in my ass and I keep.
oh,
gas.
that's the phrase you
sentence I
said.
gave
That's
her.
I'm sorry. I'll
That's
wait.
all right.
So I'll tell you guys on the on the giving end. I to make a long story longer. A friend of mine said, if you want to meet girls, right, learn Japanese. He said, but don't speak in front of them if you're interested, because they'll talk shit on you. He said, and you can glean all that information. He said, so if they're not interested, you can walk away. If they're interested, you can, press on further, right? That's okay. He said, so just practice on the ones you don't care about. I said, all right. So I'm up at the bar one night. You know my buddy. Andy knows him. He's been there since '85. He's like a guru.
Mhm.
So I'm at the bar one night. I'm drinking Coke. I don't drink at this point, and I'm having a Coke and I'm practicing, talking to this girl. And so this guy leans over to me and he goes, "Hey man, you speak Japanese?" And I was like, a little bit. And he's like, "Will you do me a favor? Will you ask this girl what her name is?" I said, "Sure." "Hey, what's your name?" She's like, "Oh, it's me walking." He like looks at me like I'm the biggest dick in the world. And I'm like, "Hey man," I said, listen. That's basic. That's basic. What's your name? Everybody knows that. Okay. I said, if she's pretending she doesn't understand, she's just not interested. I said, she should probably just go talk to another girl. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man," and ran away. And then so went up, but yeah, I mean, it was so basic. So another time, same bar, different chair, but same bar. I'm doing running the same game, right? It's a very limited space, right, Andy? So
Yes.
running the same game, same bar. I'm talking to this lady practicing, and same thing. This guy's like, "Hey, I want you to tell this girl I think she's very good looking."
Same guy or different guy?
This is all different. This is different, and it's months apart, right? Months apart, because I'm not ready for it, right? And I look over and I'm like, "Damn, this girl's pretty cute." So I tell her in Japanese, I'm like, "Look, he can't even tell you if he liked it or not. Why don't you just meet me, across the street?" I said, "And I'll get this clown to buy you a drink." And she's like, and she tells me if he buys her a drink, she'll meet me across the street and we'll have a date. And I said, "Okay, sure." I said, "Hey man, she's all into you. She just said she's waiting for the drink you offered. I don't know. She doesn't speak good English." He's like, "Oh shit." 2 drinks. And I left. and I met her 40 minutes later. I was waiting, we went out on a date.
I love that.
Didn't work out, but
That's all right though.
Yeah, I mean, it was learning it's so funny you talk about like learning language, like language of sale, language of whatever. If you speak somebody's language, the doors open up. They just open up.
Absolutely. It is, often, we can boil our things down, like our failures down to just either we observed it wrong or we communicated it wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm almost all of our failures we can boil down to that simplicity. But the better we can communicate with humans in whatever way that is, and the more we can add humor into that, it's just the better our lives are all around. Absolutely.
So that background music you hear there, that is our Veterans Helping Veterans segment. And we do this every week. Lou, do you have an organization tonight or no?
I got pin up for vets if you're looking at me.
No. However, I know we've highlighted this organization before, but it's
please again.
I'm going to highlight it again because Lou, you're going to be attending this year.
I will be.
And the
Wounded Warrior Umpire
organization,
Academy.
Absolutely. Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. So it's a fantastic organization. And what they do is they take wounded veterans, they use baseball as an excuse. They bring them in, they teach them how to be umpires. But most importantly, it gives them that renewed sense of purpose, that camaraderie that they've been missing since they've been out of the service. And it gives them a job skill, honestly. It's a fantastic organization. It's a nonprofit, obviously, and I can attest that 90% of all monetary donations received go to the students. And what's fantastic about it is we bring them in for a 10-day course every June. We pay for their airfare, we pay for their hotel, we pay for their meals, we train them. And umpire.com donates $1,500 worth of brand new umpire equipment to every student.
Oh,
wow.
I love that. That's great. What a great organization.
And
Very
it
cool.
saves lives. I know because I'm one of them that it saved.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we're finally getting Lou to come to camp.
I tried to go several times, Amy, and I recently retired, and my wife was like, "I'm not taking 10 days off work so you can go to camp." But she's Japanese and going back to Japan, and Could only afford 2 tickets. So she graciously said that she will bring my daughter instead of me. and they
Aw.
and I can go to camp during that time. So it
Oh,
worked out.
that's wonderful. And thank you guys both for your service, by the way.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your
Yes.
service. It is to sit with us for an hour.
Right. You definitely
You were
deserve
patient.
a-
You were kind. You tolerated it.
Oh, you guys
Most
are fun.
importantly, you were funny.
Yes.
Was I? I hope so.
Yes. I loved it. I'd love to have you back on the show sometime.
I
And
would love to come
let's
on.
get your husband in here too.
Absolutely.
You guys would love my husband. You
Yeah,
guys would
yeah. I
really
want to hear
love-
about Osaka because I'm sure
Oh.
Well, wait a
I
minute,
want to
wait a
hear
minute,
about
wait a minute.
sales. Yeah.
There's 5 minutes left in the show. Where's he at?
You know what? I can't grab him. He's actually speaking. He's speaking and hosting an event right now called the
Oh.
Global Heart Activation. So he's
good.
he's this big rugged Aussie guy that
Boy.
runs a lot of like really divine feminine energy.
Fabulous.
Yeah, no, but he's not like that. But you know, although when I first met, I thought maybe. You know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But we've been married 18 years, so I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
That is
Congratulations.
awesome. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Feels like forever, doesn't it? I mean, that's amazing. You know, real quick before we go, there's a statistic out there relating to married couples. The couples that have been married 50, 40, 50 years and whatnot. It's statistically proven that the man dies before the woman.
Ooh, I don't want to hear that.
Do you know why?
Why?
We want to. Hey.
Well, do you know that there's a food that actually decreases your sex drive by like 90%?
Oh boy.
I just know my wife frequently reminds me Japanese have a long lifespan.
Oh,
She
that's
just
fun.
frequently.
Wait, I want to
Update
hear the
will.
food. I
You
want to
can
hear
go
the food.
camping, update the will. Just update everything. Just password, keep the password book current.
What's the food?
Wedding cake.
Oh.
See, that would have been so much funnier if Lou would have let you hit that.
Oh, I didn't.
punchline.
That's my fault. I didn't hear
You're all
because I was
good. It's all
talking.
good. It
That's
was
my
super
fault.
funny. I was sitting with my husband because I'm like you'll like he's the fun one and I'm like the business one. And when you meet him, you'll get it. But it was super funny because we were watching, I don't know, Psych, or we were watching some show, Lie to Me, or one of those shows, and it was like some like serial killer thing. And it was like the partner just found out that their partner had done something, and I go, what would you do if I went to jail? Would you visit me if I ended up going to jail? He goes, well, first I'd scream like a 10-year-old little girl if I found out you were like some crazy like that. He goes, I wouldn't visit you at all. He goes, wait. I would visit you once to get the passcode.
Oh wow. Would he scream in Australian?
He would.
Hey,
So
well, don't go as we close.
Yeah.
Stick
Okay.
around.
Interesting fact. I have a buddy of mine that is also from Australia, but he happens to be the first Australian to ever be an MLB umpire.
Huh?
And you will meet him at Camp Lou because he's one of the
Awesome.
instructors.
Cool.
Fun guy. Super fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm excited. I mean, I can't wait for it, dude. I mean, like these people, like I don't know. I get stoked.
easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Right. But Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you,
like
guys.
Lou said, don't bounce just yet. Stick around for a few minutes or a minute or two, and then we'll talk in how do they say after the show, post show? I don't know what they say. They say a lot of things.
In the overtime,
Right. Yeah.
behind the paywall.
That's a penalty right there. I don't know what we're talking about here, folks. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Lou, I'm going to give you the closing words, our segment. We're introducing something new here, are we?
Are we?
Yeah.
We can announce it about the aska.
No, not well. Yeah, we can mention that, but I was talking about your closing.
No, that's when your credits play, my friend.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. We've never done it before.
We did it last week.
Well, we tried it last week. We failed, but that's okay. Anyway, last thoughts, and then close us out, buddy.
Oh well, hey, we'll catch you all next week. Make sure you're back here, and should be good. And you're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou, an Admiral Media Productions production. All information at the time of broadcast is mostly accurate. Comment down below, give 5 stars. All right, reserved.